And good evening, and welcome into bright, sunny, beautiful Ottawa, Ontario, located here in the eastern part of Canada. Pleased to be joining you here for the Otters' first trip to Canada in over 20 years. I'm Matthew Will, joining you here on the Otters Digital Network. I want to thank you for joining us here. And this is where we're going to be broadcasting for the next 6 days, 3 nights here in Ottawa, and then 3 there in Trois-Rivières, just a couple hours to the east of us. We'll break down tonight's game, which starts with the Evansville Otters and Ottawa Titans. Both teams come into this game with a 5-4 record. Evansville, of course, fresh off the tough loss to the Quebec Capitals there to end their little homestand, their 9-game homestand. The Otters were able to score one there in the bottom half of the 5th inning. It was a day of small ball, I'll tell you that. In that bottom half of the 5th inning, they scored on an Andy Armstrong RBI single that brought in Elijah McNamee. That was the only run the Otters would find all afternoon long. The Capitals were able to score one there in the top half of the 7th inning on an RBI triple from Pedro Gonzalez, and then they won it in the top of the 9th as TJ White scored on a pass ball that got past Dakota Phillips. The 2-1 score held all the way, and it was the lowest scoring game we've seen thus far there at historic Bosse Field. But now we turn the page to Ottawa, where we will get to see these Titans for a couple days and then head over to Trois-Rivières and see the Eagles for a few days. As for this Ottawa team, of course, they come to the game at 5-4 overall. They're going to pitch Evan Grills this evening. Grills has got an interesting throwing motion to him. He has a fastball, a curve, and a changeup in his lineup, but he at least recently has not been wanting to use the changeup as much, really a fastball and curve thrower primarily. We'll see how much he wants to mix in that changeup, see where he uses it and what he uses it for. He spent some time in both AA and AAA ball before heading down to the independent levels. Was in AA Hartford in 2018, had a 4-5 record back there. Then had a year at AAA Albuquerque in 2019. That's when he fell down to the independent baseball ranks, where he played for the Winnipeg Goldeyes there in the American Association for a couple of years, and then spent last year kind of bouncing around a little ways before he found his way here to Ottawa to play for the Titans this year. Grills is a left-handed thrower, and he's actually from Whitby, Ontario, not too far from here. He is one of the ones listed as a technical veteran on this team. He'll be throwing against Parker Brahms this evening. And Brahms was very impressive in his opening start for the Otters. You have to go all the way back to the opening game the middle game against Empire State. Just to refresh your memory, that was the one the Otters won 20-1. Brahms went 6 full innings in that game, allowed just 1 run on 2 hits. Did have 3 walks given up, but he struck out 8 as well during that time, earning his first and only win of the season. He does have a 1-0 record coming into the game with a 1.50 ERA. He will look to impress once again in his second start so far this season. The Otters are going to look a little bit different on this Canadian trip, as some individuals were either not able to make the trip or had scheduling conflicts that made it so the Otters had to pick up some new faces to assist them here north of the border. It's going to be some relatively familiar faces that will start on the starting lineup. Andy Armstrong, Miles Gordon, J.R. Davis, Zach Bierman, Justin Felix round out the top 5. Then Ronnie Allen Jr., the catcher, is going to get his first opportunity on the starting lineup. He'll be playing first base tonight. He had 1 pinch hit appearance earlier this week, but other than that, he has not had any game action for the Otters thus far. Excited to see what he can do both at the plate and over there on first base. Then it's Trevor McKinley, who will man right field for the Otters tonight. Julius Puryear will man second base, and then the familiar face of George Khalil will be there at short. Relatively similar to what things looked like earlier this week, just with a couple of changes, a couple of guys not on the trip with, and there were a couple of individual roster changes that came out today as well. Steven Sinsley was placed on the injured list, and both Jeffrey Baez and Jeffrey Baez was placed on the inactive list. Tyler Spring was placed on the suspended list. Then the Otters signed, of course, Trevor McKinley and Julius Purrier. Those two will make their Otters debuts this evening. They'll wear 46 for McKinley and 43 for Julius Purrier. There are a couple of finals already across the Frontier League today, but regardless, we'll still take a look at what things look like in the standings and what's important to keep an eye on as we go through this Canadian trip. Gateway is off to a rocket start here in the West Division, 8-1 overall. Evansville, Schaumburg, and Washington are all tied for second, 3 whole games back from the Gateway Grizzlies. They're all at 5-4. They're followed by Lake Erie at 4-5, Joliet at 4-6, Florence at 3-5, and finally Windy City at 3-6. All of these records are coming into the day. There have been a couple finals so far. We'll update you on those in just a few seconds. On the East Division side of things, Tri-City and Sussex County are tied at the top of things. Tri-City with a 6-2 record, Sussex County 7-3. Then it's Quebec at 6-3, a half game back of them. Then this Ottawa team at 5-4, a game and a half back, followed by New Jersey at 4-4, New York at 4-6, Trois-Rivières at 3-6, and then finally the Grays of Empire State, who came into the day 0-9. They fell in their game earlier this morning and fell to 0-10 on the season. Still looking for that win number 1 in their franchise's history. Take a second to walk you through what's going on in the Frontier League today, what already has gone down, and what to expect. Windy City defeated Sussex County 3-1 earlier today. That was because Windy City got off to a really hot start in that game and rode that one all the way to the end. Like I mentioned, Empire State fell to Schaumburg 8-2, which means if the Otters were to fall this evening, they would fall underneath Schaumburg in the standings as of right now. A couple other games going on this evening. One that should be getting started any moment. New York at Lake Erie. Of course, our game here in Ottawa. Tri-City is on the road facing off against the Wild Things of Washington. Gateway also joining us here north of the border. They're at Quebec tonight. Joliet at New Jersey. They have just gotten started there. And then Florence is also up here north of the border as they visit Trois-Rivières to start off their Canadian road trip. So a lot going on tonight. All of these are 3-game sets that will go across the next 3 days. Then on Friday, of course, the Otters are going to head over to Trois-Rivières to face the Eagles for a few games. Gateway is going to come over here and face the Ottawa Titans for a few games. Florence is going to head to Quebec and face the Capitals in a 3-game set. And the rest of the league will continue playing cross division. Joliet at Sussex County this weekend, Empire State at Lake Erie, New Jersey at Washington, and the final 2 later this weekend will be Tri-City at Schaumburg and New York at Windy City. So a lot going on across all of the Frontier League this week. Really getting into the thick of things. The schedule starting to move really quick, and we are just finding a groove. Game 10 tonight here on the Otters Digital Network will be between Evansville and Ottawa. We've got first pitch in just a few moments live here from Ottawa Stadium inside beautiful Ottawa, Ontario. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we'll introduce you to both sets of starting lineups and let you know the keys to the game. And again, welcome inside beautiful and sunny Ottawa, Ontario, here in the heart of Canada. It wasn't sunny all day, actually. It spent a lot of the day being overcast. I was afraid we might have a couple of raindrops come down on us, but the clouds have all moved away, and it's going to be a beautiful night here for the Ottawa Titans home opener. They're expecting a pretty good crowd on hand. The lower bowl is already starting to fill in quite nicely. They're planning on having post-game fireworks. They had a giveaway at the front gate as people came in at the first 500, so there was quite a line lining up for just about an hour before they started letting people through the gates, and it seems like it's going to be a pretty nice week of baseball. This game tonight, obviously a 6:30 start. They're going to be a few minutes behind because of all of their pregame festivities. Tomorrow night will also be a 6:30 start. Then it's going to be an earlier one on Thursday. It'll be a noon start here from Ontario. Of course, all these times an hour back there in Evansville. 5:30 tonight, 5:30 tomorrow, and 11 on Thursday. That day game will not only enable the Titans to have their first day game of the year, but it also enable the Otters to get through that game and get themselves over to Trois-Rivières before it's too late into the evening. And all those three games will be available right here on Otters TV's YouTube page, the Otters Digital Network. And I'll be joining you for all six this weekend. If you hear in the background, you're going to hear two of everything. That's because they have to introduce everything in English and then everything in that French Canadian that a ton of the people around here speak. Uh, I would be lying if I told you that I hadn't struggled just a little bit here in our 24 hours in town thus far, making sure I'm with someone that can speak. There are a lot of French speakers around this area. But at least here at the game, they make sure everyone can have a good time, no matter what language you speak. We'll walk you through these starting lineups before they get started with the two national anthems, because they will do two here. I mentioned the Otters welcoming in McKinley, Puryear, and Allen Jr. tonight. It's Armstrong, Gordon, and Davis who start off things in the starting lineups. Armstrong at third, Gordon at center, Davis in left field. Batting fourth is the designated hitter, Zach Bierman. He'll be followed by the catcher, Justin Felix. In the sixth spot, first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr. In the seventh spot, the right fielder, Trevor McKinley. Batting eighth and playing second base, Julius Puryear. And rounding out the starting nine and playing shortstop will be George Khalil. Again, it's Parker Brahms on the mound. Excited to see what he can do in start number two of the season. As for the Titans of Ottawa, playing center field will be and batting first will be Will Zimmerman. Batting second, the left fielder, number 11, Rodrigo Orozco. Batting third, the third baseman, A.J. Wright. Batting fourth, the right fielder, Jacob Sanford. Batting fifth, the first baseman, Brennan Dadson. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Clay Fisher. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Luke Navigato. Batting eighth, the catcher, Tyrus Green. And batting ninth, the second baseman, Jackie Urbaez. The Ottawa Titans are managed by Bobby Brown. Their pitching coach is Tom Carcione, and Garrett Fisher is their hitting and first base coach. They have introduced both starting lineups. They're just getting set now for both of the national anthems here inside Ottawa Stadium. We'll take a break, and on their side, we've got first pitch between the Titans of Ottawa and the Otters of Evansville, coming at you live here from the Otters Digital Network. Both anthems sang, and we are ready to play baseball here from beautiful, sunny Ottawa, Ontario, here in the heart of Canada. Thanks for joining us here on the Otters Digital Network. You can catch all 6 games of this Canadian road trip right here on the Otters Digital Network. We're glad to have it back up and running. Glad that Zane Claudefelter's out there listening, and the rest of you. Walk you through one more time a little bit about both these teams, just so you're understanding what the scenario is. Ottawa, out of the East Division, of course, comes into the game 5-4, just like the Evansville Otters, who are in the West Division, also at 5-4. Ottawa started their season there in the West Division and kind of made their way through a couple of teams over there. They started at Joliet and won that series 2-1 over the Slammers. Joliet managed to grab game 3, 9-0. Then they went to Windy City for a trio of games. After dropping the opening game, they won both the game 2 and game 3. Then they head down to Florence to face the Yalls, and it was Florence who came out on top in games 1 and 3, and it was the first time all season that Ottawa lost an actual series. As for Evansville, they started off the season with a 9-game homestand. Of course, the 3 games against New Jersey to start things off, lost games 1 and 2, but then went on a 5-game winning streak, beating New Jersey in the final game, then sweeping the Grays of Empire State in all 3 of that midweek series. Then they won the opening game against Quebec Capitals, but then Quebec came back and won the second and third games of that series, and forced the Otters into a scenario where they've only won one series all year. They are just a little bit depleted, as there are a couple individuals on this team who were unable to make it for one reason or another. Steven Sinsley not with the team, as he's on the injured list as of today. Jeffrey Baez officially inactive on the roster, so he's not with the team. Tyler Spring as well, placed on the suspended list and is not on with the team in Canada as well. A couple of guys who are going to be making their Otters debuts in order to help fill some of the holes and almost act as a six-game tryout, see if they come home with the team and grab a full-time roster spot. Outfielder Trevor McKinley is going to be the starter for the Otters out there in right field. Julius Puryear will start at second base. Those two are 2 of 3 making their first Otters starts. The third one is Ronnie Allen Jr. He's signed with the team earlier last week, but only appeared in one game just to pinch hit for a little bit. Other than that, he has not had any real experience in a starting position. He'll be playing first. We'll run through the starting lineups again for you in case you missed them before the anthems. First, for the home team, the Ottawa Titans, center fielder Will Zimmerman will lead him off, be followed by the left fielder Rodrigo Orozco. Then the third baseman A.J. Wright will bat third. Batting fourth, the right fielder Jacob Sanford. Batting fifth, the first baseman Brendan Dadson. Batting sixth, the shortstop Clay Fisher. Batting seventh, the designated hitter Luke Navigato. Batting eighth, the catcher Tyrus Green. And finally, batting ninth will be the second baseman Jackie Urbaez. On the mound for the Titans this evening will be Evan Grills. Grills will be throwing home towards green, and that pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, and you can find them at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. And now the starting lineups for the road team, the Evansville Otters. Leading off, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, the third baseman, Andy Armstrong. He'll be followed by the center fielder, Miles Gordon, and the left fielder, J.R. Davis. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, Zach Bierman. Batting fifth, the catcher, Justin Felix. Batting sixth, the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr. Batting seventh, the right fielder, Trevin McKinley. Batting eighth, the second baseman, Julius Puryear. And batting ninth will be the familiar face shortstop, George Khalil. On the mound for the Otters will be Parker Brahms, who comes into the game 1-0 on the season with a 1.50 ERA and a stunning 105 batting average against. He had his way on that night game against the Grays earlier last week. That was the game that the Otters ended up winning 20-1. Brahms had 8 strikeouts across 6 innings of work, allowed just 1 run on 2 hits. He also walked 3 at the same time. Final warm-up pitch is getting ready to be sent home, and we're just about ready to get started with a beautiful Tuesday night of baseball. Got to chat with the head man, Danny McCauley, a little bit this afternoon. Awfully excited to be coming back to Canada. He used to manage at a couple different places up here. And then, of course, when he was coaching in the American Association, took lots of trips up here to Winnipeg to face the Gold Eyes. But he's happy to be back up here north of the border. And he said, you know, it's pretty simple. We want to come up here and take the majority of games. 4 or 5 wins would be huge for this team. So digging in for his first opportunity of the game will be the third baseman, Andy Armstrong. Armstrong enters the game batting .500 on the season, 12 of 24. First pitch, fast and up high, ball 1. Unfortunately, they don't seem to have a pitch clock here, so I can't give exacts. Ooh, a sweeping curve towards the right corner. That one moved a lot left to right and sank into the ground over there. Armstrong got caught chasing, and the count evens up at 1-1. Kick and delivery from Grills. That one falls just out of the zone to the right side. Ooh, man, that one was awfully close. So because of it, the count goes to 2-1. Fastball high and away. Has Armstrong out 3-1 in the count. He'll be followed by Miles Gordon and J.R. Davis. the top three for this lineup tonight. And ball 4 stays low of the zone, and Armstrong will get a free pass to first, and a couple of boos rang out as a lot of the fans here thought that one was catching the lower part of the zone. Instead, it brings in the center fielder, Miles Gordon. Gordon enters the game, batting .222, 4 of 18 on the season, 1 home run, and that's his only extra base hit. Gordon, of course, bats on the right side, meaning he's a lefty, of course, shows bunt, and has called strike go across. Infield playing a little bit shallow now. The outfield just a bit moved to the left side. There is a huge gap out there in right field. This ballpark plays pretty deep, 325 to the corners, 404 to dead center, and the alleyways are both 380. So a pretty long park. Got a gorgeous view here from the stadium overlooking towards the northern part of Ottawa. They have a couple of throwovers just to check on Andy Armstrong. He's back in time for both of them. Armstrong is not a huge stolen base threat. He is 0 for 1 on the season in stolen base attempts. Has no indications of stealing here. The first pitch is in there for called strike 2 now after the attempted bunt on the first one. So Miles Gordon has to be a little defensive now at the plate, looking at an 0-2 count. Again, a throw over. That one gets past, and Armstrong's going to head to second. The throw out there to second, just behind. And Armstrong heads to first on an error on the throw by the pitcher. So the man on the bump, Evan Grills, was so worried about Armstrong over there at first, he gave him a free base. And that one really hurts, depending on what Gordon can do here. Gordon lines one towards the right side. Ooh, just gets fouled down that right field foul line. Pretty good crowd here on hand for the home opener for the Ottawa Titans. Of course, there are still some individuals that are coming through those main gates. They had a long line down there when the gates opened at 5:30, 4:30 Central Time. Ball stays low for called ball 1. So 1-2 count now to Miles Gordon. There's a runner on second. The former Andy Armstrong, still no outs here in the top half of the first inning. If you hear a lot of repeated audio in the background or multiple sets of audio, it's because they have to do everything twice, both in English and in French. Gordon swings at a pitch on its way in, but gets just a tiny bit of bat on ball and fouls it through the legs of the catcher, Green, and he'll live to see at least one more pitch. Armstrong out there on second with a pretty good lead. They're not really worried about holding him. The pitch coming home. Cracked bat, set on a line towards first, and it's caught midair. So Gordon will be out on the lineout, and I think the bat might have gone further than the actual ball. There went some more lumber. You can get your new lumber at Niehaus Lumber. And with that, Armstrong had to hustle back to second. He has to stay there. It now brings up the left fielder, J.R. Davis. Davis is off to a hot start, 351 average to start off the year, 13 of 37. His biggest flaw is he does have 9 strikeouts just to 1 walk. He's gotten behind in counts really early, and he'll start behind in this one on a called strike on the inside half of the plate. That was the changeup that Evan Grills wasn't really too fond of, especially in warm-ups. It was mostly just the fastball and the curveball. Time called there at the plate by J.R. Davis. He'll step out for a few seconds. Armstrong retreats back to second. Takes a deep breath. One out here in the top half of the first inning. Otters have a man on after the walk. 0-1 stays low. The count evens up. At a ball and a strike. It was cool to see the excitement around the ballpark today as I was getting things set up here. It's the home opener here, and this is something that's been coming on for 2 years for Ottawa to join the Frontier League. But of course, because of COVID and then last season was just a little strange as well, uh, the team never got to join officially until this year. So there was almost this sense of finally it's our time to do this. And that was kind of the message in the pregame festivities, is thanking all the individuals who made this possible and really celebrating that they finally have made it here to the Frontier League and get to participate. Last year it was just that singular Canadian team that kind of worked all together. Hit on a line towards left is J.R. Davis. It's picked up by the third baseman. Long throw across in time for the second out of the top half of the first inning. So with that, the cleanup hitter, designated hitter Zach Bierman, will step in. Bierman also batting as a left-handed hitter, and he has been really good in his 7 games he's played. Batting .400, 8 RBI. That's tied for the team lead. Has a couple of home runs as well, and had a 2-home run game in that 21 win. Stealing third is Armstrong, and he's there in time. They didn't even throw down there. Even if they had, I think he would have had it beat by quite a bit. So now a runner on third with 2 outs for Bierman, who took strike 1 to let Armstrong steal. Second pitch in there, and ooh, man, that one must have stayed a bit high, because from this angle it looked like it fell into the zone. That curveball once again. But the count goes to 1-1. Runner on third. This is Andy Armstrong. Otters trying to score here in the top half of the first inning. A 1-1 changeup absolutely has Bierman guessing, and he swings way out in front of that one. Trying to get the crowd involved here as they're looking at a 1-2 to Bierman. Pitches outside, evens up the count. So now a 2-2 with 2 outs and a runner on third for the Otters. They're trying to score one here in the top half of the first inning. Long wait on the mound from Evan Grills. The 2-2. Outside again. Great stop by Green behind the plate. And that got past Green. This is a huge amount of space between home and the backstop. So Armstrong would have scored really easily. It's probably an extra 8 to 10 feet more than what we see behind home plate there at Bossy Field. The 3-2 swung on and missed by Zach Bierman. He'll sit down on a strikeout, the first one of the game. And the Otters strand Armstrong at third in the top half of the first inning. We are still scoreless after 1/2 inning. The Titans coming up to bat next. We have played just a half inning, and the Otters were unable to bring Andy Armstrong home from third. He started off things with a walk and then reached second on the air on the throw over from Evan Grills, then advanced to third on the stolen base, but Gordon, Davis, and Bierman go down in order and leave him there at third. Ready for the Titans to come up to bat. It'll be Zimmerman, Orozco, and Wright to bat here in the bottom half of the first inning. They'll start off with center fielder Will Zimmerman. Zimmerman enters the game batting .417. A double, a triple, a couple home runs, second on the team in RBI. Very efficient there at the plate. First opportunity on a line towards Armstrong at third. He picks it up, throws over to first in time. And it's one pitch, one out here to start off. Armstrong was already playing way in, like they were almost expecting a bunt or a drag bunt there. That one was hit on the ground right towards Armstrong. He didn't have to move left or right at all. He just stepped a couple steps in, picked it up in his glove, and got it to first in time. So now Rodrigo Orozco steps in. The left fielder enters the game batting .282. He's played all 9 games for the Titans thus far. 4 doubles and a home run. He's a lefty, so he's batting on that right side of home plate. First pitch. Oh, man, that one just missed on the outside half of the plate. Brahms decided to heat that one up a little bit to start off. 2-0. That one misses up high. So this stadium has gone through a couple of changes since they originally planned to bring the Frontier League here. It was RCGT Stadium, but it was renamed here in the last year to Ottawa Stadium as Brahms finds the strike zone for the first time there. The capacity of this place is 10,332. I know we don't have that many tonight, but it sure is a couple thousand already. And Brahms catches the top half of the zone, and the count heads to full. Slowed that one just a little bit, and because of it, Orozco thought it was staying high. The full count pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled back into the netting. Most of the infield is playing right there at the back of the dirt, right where the dirt meets the outfield grass, except for Andy Armstrong on the left side of the infield. He's playing with his toes on the infield grass, way in. Again, on the full count. That one's sent back towards me. Oh, landed just about 3 feet short of my window. Beautiful ballpark here. Trees and green area, different bushes and all sorts of things around the outside of the ballpark and line the outfield as well. As Brahms misses inside for ball 4, and Orozco will reach on the walk. But it makes for a nice backdrop, especially down on the field. You can't even see the businesses or the roads behind the outfield wall. All you can see is the trees and bushes out there around the outfield. It makes for a nice playing surface, kind of makes you feel like you're not quite inside the middle of Ottawa here. So now the runner on first is Orozco. Keep an eye on him. He's got some speedy legs under him. As the first pitch to A.J. Wright stays high for ball 1. Orozco has attempted a couple stolen bases this year, 1 of 2 officially. At the plate, A.J. Wright, the best hitter for the Titans, and it's not really close. Batting .432 on the season with 3 doubles, 3 home runs, 13 RBI. But of course, where successful hitters like that usually live, so do the high strikeout numbers. As a throw over to first gets past. Man, that was a really poor throw from Parker Brahms. Skied that one over the top of Ronnie Allen Jr. In fact, it wasn't even Allen Jr. who made it to the ball first. It was the second baseman per year who had to run all the way over there and pick it up. So much like we saw in the top half of the first, a runner has gotten second for free due to a bad throw over to first. So the count is 2-0 to A.J. Wright. Orozco stands on second here with one out. Long wait for Brahms. He kicks and delivers. That one stays way inside. And he falls behind the count 3-0 now. He risks bringing in the cleanup hitter and right fielder Jacob Sanford, who stands on deck right now. The 3-0. Right down Main Street, the fastball comes across for strike one. Brahms waiting for his sign up there on the mound. Got what he wants. Quick glance out to second. And the 3-1 on the way. That one's skied up and out of play. It's a foul ball. And the count heads to full for the second straight batter. Brahms lost the full count battle on the last batter. He's going to try to win this one now. Waiting for the sign is Brahms. Got what he wants. Couple glances out towards second once again. The full count pitch. Runner's going towards third. And it is going to be a walk and strikeouts. Best of both worlds for the Titans. And now with one out, they have runners on the corners. Parker Brahms struggling early to find the strike zone. So now the right fielder Jacob Sanford will step in. Sanford enters our game, batting .263, only has 3 RBIs on the season. This is a really good opportunity for him to add to it. Justin Felix is going to jog out there and have a quick discussion with Parker Brahms after the first pitch, ball 1. Otters are wearing their blue tops, gray bottoms, and then blue hats as well. Ottawa is in white tops, white bottoms with red sleeves and red hats and helmets. Felix gets back behind the plate and he's ready for the 1-0. Runners on the corners here for the Titans. Trying to do something early. Swinging strike 1, and the count evens up at 1-1. Taking his time is Parker Brahms. Now sends it home. That one misses on the inside, and Felix really had to get over there in order to get to the ball in time before allowing it to get by. Swinging strike 2. Nice pitch there from Parker Brahms to throw the slider and get a lot of horizontal movement. Started near the outside of the plate, ended up inside, and kind of had Jacob Sanford fooled. Now the 2-2. This one is sent out towards right field. Down, base hit. Rounding first is Sanford. He's going to score one, and they'll keep Wright standing on third. It's an RBI double from the cleanup hitter, Jacob Sanford. He got a hold of that one, and it landed right on the white foul line, down the right field line out there. Hence called a fair ball. So here in the bottom half of the first inning, it's Titans 1, Evansville 0. Still one out. Brahms collects himself on the mound, sends it home, and misses on the outside corner with a fastball. So Orozco scores on the last play from third. Wright goes from first to third. And there are now runners at both second and third in the forms of Wright on third, Sanford on second for the first baseman, Brendan Dadson. Dadson swings at pitch 2, was fooled on a 1 low and away, and the count evens up at 1-1. Pretty big lead out there at second from Jacob Sanford. As for A.J. Wright, he's staying close to third as Armstrong's kind of holding him there. The next pitch is low and inside, catches the corner for strike 2. 1-2 count here now. This would be a much needed out number 2 if Parker Brahms could put him away with the K. Kicks and delivers on the 1-2. Stays just a bit high. The count evens up. Little different looking infield and outfield for that matter for the Otters. Purrier at second. McKinley out there in right. Those are the 2 of the individuals who joined the team this week. Ronnie Allen Jr. there at first. Next pitch is sent out of play and foul to the left side. It'll actually get all the way out of the ballpark. So the count stays at 2-2 to the hard-hitting first baseman, Brendan Dadson. This would be a much-needed strike 3 if Parker Brahms could snag it. The 2-2 in the dirt. Felix had to do a ton just to keep it in front of him. Again, pretty small leads. The 2-2 once again. This one's lifted up in the infield. Khalil thinks he has it there at short, and he does. They ended up calling it an infield fly rule regardless. But a pop-up gives the Otters a very much-needed out number 2. It'll bring up the shortstop, Clay Fisher. Clay Fisher is one of the hitters struggling a little bit more on this Titans team. Batting .222. He's played in 8 of the 9 games. Only 2 extra base hits. First offering to Fisher. He half swings at it. They say no, he didn't. Even when Brahms has been looking at bases empty situations, he's been exclusively pitching out of the stretch. No windup for him. 1-0 stays way inside, and he falls down to the count. 2 balls, no strikes. So kind of like they've been playing all inning. Armstrong at third playing way in, almost with his toes on that front grass. Khalil at short, Purrier at second, and Allen at first are all played quite a bit deeper. The 2-0 slider catches the low inside corner. Deep breath on the mound from Parker Brahms. So he receives his sign. Didn't even check the runners. This one's sent on a line towards Armstrong, and he snags it for the third out of the inning, but not before Ottawa is able to put up the first run of the game on an RBI double from Jacob Sanford. After 1 full inning, it's Ottawa 1, Evansville 0 here on the Otters Digital Network. And welcome back inside the Otters Digital Network. Inning number 2 coming at you next here, live from Ottawa, Ontario. The Titans have a 1-0 lead after the RBI double from Jacob Sanford. It came after back-to-back walks to Orozco and Wright. So Parker Brahms is going to have to be a little bit better about not handing out the free passes throughout the rest of this game. As for the hitters for the Otters, they'll start off with the catcher, Justin Felix. Felix's first offering, he fouls it towards the right side and out of play. Just a little ball on the ground. Ended up actually in the Otters dugout. Otters are on the first base side dugout, while the Titans are on the third base side. The kick and delivery on the 0-1 from Grills. That one is right across the heart of the plate. Felix had a beautiful pitch there he laid off on. And he falls down in the count, 0-2. Wind up and delivery on the 0-2. Curveball. Ooh, just missed. Ball 1. Felix has struggled at the plate, batting .250 right now. Had a really impressive opening couple of days of the season. Had a 3 RBI game in there as well as he swings hard and misses. Strike 3 on the off-speed pitch. He'll sit down on a strikeout. And now, for the first time starting, the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr., will step in. We got to see just a tiny little bit of Ronnie Allen Jr. He pinch hit there in that 20-1 game against Empire State on Wednesday. He grounded out, however. First pitch to him, catches the lower half of the zone for strike 1. Oh, 1. That one they just threw right past him. Fastball up high, and Armstrong was way behind it. So for the second straight batter, Evan Grills has a man looking at an 0-2 count. The kick and delivery on it. Curveball caught the zone that time. 3 pitches is all Ronnie Allen Jr. will see, and it's the third straight strikeout for Otters hitters. So now with 2 outs and making his very first start with the Otters is the right fielder Trevor McKinley. First offering to him, and he sends it over the shortstop's head and down into left center field for a 2-out base hit. The first hit of the ball game for the Otters. And with that, now the second baseman Julius Purrier steps up. Got to keep an eye there on Evan Grills. He checks over at first, and they catch McKinley in a rundown. Back and forth they go. Back and forth they go. He falls over, and they get him. Trevor McKinley caught off the bag, and that's the third out. After a 2-out single from him, he gets caught with a running error, and the top half of the second inning ends. Otters still looking for run number 1. Ottawa leads 1-0 as we head to the bottom half of the second. And we are ready to go at the bottom half of the second inning. Titans lead 1-0 after an RBI double there in the bottom half of the first inning from Jacob Sanford. And now batting for Ottawa will be the 7, 8, 9 hitters, starting off with the designated hitter, Luke Navigato. Navigato enters this evening's game on the rough side of hitting, batting 150. First hit here, lined right at Khalil at short. He plays it on a one hop and over to first in plenty of time. And for the second straight inning for Parker Brahms, it's one pitch, one out. So now the catcher for the Titans, Tyrus Green, steps up. Titus Green, a little bit higher, 240 average through where we're at so far this year, but just one extra base hit and just one RBI. The success of his game has been on being able to get on base via the walk. Takes ball one, and then ball two stays way high. Parker Brahms is going to have to do a little bit more to fool some of these hitters. Now a 2-0 towards Green. Oh man, that one just barely caught the top half of the zone. But it's enough for cold strike one. Brahms starting to work himself a little bit more into this count. 2-1 is fouled back into the netting. And Brahms has put himself in a scenario where he could win this at bat after starting in a 2-0 hole. Long wait on the mound there from Parker Brahms. Sends one home, and it's chopped foul towards the right side, gets out of play. So we'll have to take our time and get ready to do it all again. Brahms with a deep breath, and then the 2-2. Man, just missed on the outer half of the zone this time. Had it located really well vertically, but it must have stayed just a tad bit outside. Full count pitch. Works inside. It's a walk for Tyrus Green. And all three batters who have seen a full count have ended up walking for the Titans. So now the 9-hole hitter, second baseman Jackie Urbaez, steps in. Urbaez finds a way on base, it seems like every single game for this Ottawa team. Starts off with a swinging strike one on the changeup from Brahms. Urbaez has a hit streak of 7 games. Runners breaking towards second. Throw out there. In time! Oh, man, what a throw from Justin Felix. The crowd here doesn't like it. Hard view from where I'm sitting up here, but if that really is an out, what a throw from Justin Felix. As he guns down Tyrus Green on his way. And that marks the first batter all year Felix has been able to gun down. He was 0 for 6 coming into the game. Count heads to 2-1 on Jackie Urbaez. The 2-1 works way inside, and Urbaez had to get out of its way. Herbias was drafted by the Brewers in the 29th round of 2019. Played affiliated ball for a little while. Even played for Evansville a little last year. Hit out towards right center. Long run for Gordon. He gets underneath it and records out number 3. So a 1-out walk will not come back to haunt the Otters after a wonderful throw from Felix behind the plates. After 2 full innings, it's Ottawa 1, Evansville nothing. Ready for the top half of the 3rd inning here from Ottawa. We'll take this opportunity to look through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard. Windy City defeated Sussex County this morning 3-1. Schaumburg defeated Empire State 8-2 earlier this afternoon. In the bottom half of the 3rd inning, the Lake Erie Crushers currently lead the New York Boulders 3-0. The Washington Wild Things currently lead the Tri-City Valley Cats 3-1 in the bottom half of the 1st inning there. Lots of first inning scoring. Gateway Grizzlies already on top of the Quebec Capitals 1-0, just a few hours from where we're at here. In the bottom half of the 2nd inning, Joliet leads New Jersey 4-0. And the final game of the day has just gotten underway between Florence and Trois-Rivières. They're still scoreless as well. Thanks to our friends there at Fox Sports WYFX for presenting the Frontier League scoreboard. And starting off with 2 straight called strikes is Julius Purrier, who's making his first appearance for the Otters. And he sits down on 3 straight pitches. All of them looking strikes. That one was on the outside half of the part of the plate. He didn't love the call, but it doesn't matter. He'll sit down regardless. The shortstop, George Khalil, steps in next. George Khalil is batting .294 this season, but forget the .294. He's got a .500 on-base percentage. He has done extremely well, staying patient in the box and earning his way to first base quite often. Starts off with a called ball, then chops one foul to the seating area behind home plate. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Sends this one towards the shortstop on the ground. It'll be a really easy play for Fisher there. And they record out number 2. So now with 2 outs, the Otters head back to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, 3rd baseman Andy Armstrong. He led off the game with a walk, reached 2nd on an error, reached 3rd on a stolen base, but was stranded there at 3rd. Opening pitch is in there for called strike 1. If it's close, it's called strike 1 almost every time on both sides so far in this game. If you're letting that first one go by. 0-1. Hard swinging strike two from Armstrong. He was way out in front of that changeup. Count it 0-2. Swinging strike three. It's in the dirt. They'll have to throw down to first just to make sure, and they get it there in time. 3 up, 3 down for the Otters, 2 of which were by the strikeout. We're moving along quickly here, heading to the bottom half of the third inning. Titans lead 1-0. And welcome back into the Otters Digital Network, ready for the bottom half of the third inning here. After the Otters, once again, 3 up, 3 down. They're in the top half of the third inning. Due up for the Titans will be the 1-2-3 hitters of Will Zimmerman, Rodrigo Orozco, and A.J. Wright. Ready to start off things in the bottom half of the third. First pitch across for strike one. Going with the fastball there was Parker Brahms. Both teams having some base running errors in the early parts of this game that have put us where we're at. As the second pitch misses the zone outside, count evens up at 1-1. Brahms ready for the 1-1. Pitch on the way. This one swung on and smacked towards Khalil at short. He plays it on a one hop over to first in plenty of time. Khalil has looked rock solid in the early parts of this game. So this is where the offense started in the top half of the first inning. Rodrigo Orozco walked back then. His walk was followed up by a second walk and then an RBI double from Jacob Sanford. 1 out here in the bottom half of the third inning. First pitch to Orozco on the way. He swings at it and sends it down the right field line. Oh, my. That one ends up in the Evansville bullpen. I think it might have actually caught one of the pitchers on the side. They all look good to go, however. As the 0-1 comes across on the low side, and it ends up missing the zone. Count evens up at 1-1. There is an individual starting to stretch out there for the Otters, just outside of the pin. He's still got his warm-up jacket on, so I can't tell who it is. 1-1, misses on the low side again. Brahms really struggling to locate in the early parts of this game. The 2-1. Set on the line towards Purrier at second. He has to move a long way to make the play, but gets over to first in time for out number 2. He was set up almost right in between first and second. He had to probably go 10 feet to his right side to pick that one up and throw over to first. Got it done. So now the 3-hole hitter, A.J. Wright, steps in. He walked his first time up. First pitch across is left alone for ball one. Going to be a bit of a surprise for these Otters. They come to town, and the high today was 65. By the time we end this evening's game, it'll be in the mid to low 40s. Kind of a little different than the 80-degree weather the Otters played a lot of the games in earlier this week. 1-1 to A.J. Wright. Pitch on the way. This one's smacked to the left side, but gets foul. So with 2 outs here in the bottom half of the third, Parker Brahms finds himself potentially 1 pitch away from ending the inning. No real chance of rain today or tomorrow, but on Thursday there is quite a bit of chance. We'll take a look deeper at that tomorrow and see if it's going to come to fruition. Brahms misses on the high side this time. First time he's missed up there. Man, probably an inning and a half. So the deuce is now wild. 2-2 count, 2 outs, bottom half of the third inning. No one on for the Titans. The 2-2. This one's hit hard towards left field. Just foul. Oh, man, probably 9-10 feet to the left side of that foul pole in left field. Could have very easily been a 2-0 ball game. Instead, we stayed a 2-2 count. Brahms with a glance around his infield. Now he's ready to send it home. Chops this one foul to the right side. Gets out of play. So now a lot of time between pitches. A lot of frustration, it looks like, from Parker Brahms up there on the mound. Certainly have to earn this one. The 2-2 pitch towards right. Fouls it off again. Getting ready for the 8th pitch of this at-bat alone. A.J. Wright's on a 6-game hitting streak. He's already extended his 6-game on-base streak with his walk earlier in the game. The 2-2. This one's on the low side of the zone. Brahms tries to switch position and still misses. And you can see A.J. Wright just shake his head up there on the mound a couple times. Sends a pitch home. It gets sent out towards left center field. Carrying at the wall. Gone! A solo home run for A.J. Wright has the Titans up 2-0 now. He got a hold of that one. Sent it right over the left center wall that measures at 380. He probably hit that one 385. Just barely cleared the wall. This is a deep ballpark, but he made it look pretty simple. So still 2 outs. Now the right fielder Jacob Sanford steps up. He had the RBI double his last time. Giving up home runs has not been the most favorable thing for the Otters. When the opponent hits a home run against the Otters, they're 1-3. An 0-1. This one's hit really high in the infield. Chasing after it is Purrier. He thinks he's underneath it, and he is for the 3rd out of the inning, but not before a solo home run doubles the Titans' lead. We head to the 4th inning. Titans 2, Otters nothing. And we're ready for the top half of the fourth inning with the Titans now up 2-0. Leading off the half inning for the Otters will be Miles Gordon, the center fielder. He lined out on a rocket towards the first baseman his first time up. Had it snuck over the head of him. Could have scored Armstrong from second. Starts off with a called ball way up high. The 1-0. Right across the heart of the plate. Count evens up. One ball, one strike to Miles Gordon. He's playing center field for the Otters. Missed a few games earlier this week. Looking at a 1-1. Gets underneath it and fouls it back towards the press box. It actually lands in one of the suites. A few thousand people have come on down to Ottawa Stadium. The 1-2, and it's a hard swinging strike three from Miles Gordon. The fifth strikeout of the game for the Otters. They have really struggled at the plate. So now the left fielder, J.R. Davis, up next. Davis had a poor performance against Quebec there to finish that series on Sunday. 0 for 4. Prior to that 0 for 4 performance, he had been riding himself a nice 5-game hit streak. First offering to him. He sends it to the left side. Picked up by the third baseman on a one-hop. Over to first in plenty of time. 2 up, 2 down in the top half of the fourth inning. One of the things I noticed as I was down there during batting practice is how thick the infield grass is. And that was a perfect example of it. Probably in any turf situation, any ballpark in the league that has turf, it would have been through for a base hit, maybe even at Bossy Field. But here, this infield grass is so thick and so long, so deep, that it just ate that ball up. It barely made it to the third baseman. Bierman starts with a swinging strike one and then a swinging strike two. Otters struggling to make contact with anything in the early parts of this one. And it's a swinging strike three for Bierman. Swings and misses at all three pitches he sees. And it's the 7th strikeout of the day for Evan Grills through the top half of the fourth inning. Otters still trail by 2 against the Titans. And welcome back in for the bottom half of the fourth inning. Want to remind you that even though the Otters are away from home this week, they return next week on Tuesday night to face Lake Erie. 6:35 first pitch there from the beautiful and historic Bosse Field. You can follow all the action by following the Evansville Otters on Twitter and Facebook. And if you want to buy tickets to next Tuesday's game, call 812-435-8686. Order online at evansvilleotters.com, where you can stop by Bosse Field anytime this week. We've got people sitting there in the box office ready to help you out and pick out your perfect seat for Taco Tuesday next Tuesday night. Rom starts with a ball upstairs. Next pitch gets sent high and deep towards left center. Davis thinks he's underneath it, and he is, just barely. So 2 pitches in, and Rom is able to get the first out of the bottom half of the fourth inning. It brings up the shortstop, Clay Fisher. Fisher lined out his first time up right at Armstrong. And man, had Armstrong not been playing shallow like he's been playing all evening long, it probably would have landed right in front of him and he would have had to actually make a play. Instead, it just landed right in his glove. This one's chopped to the left side. Khalil on 2 hops over to first. Got him. Man, George Khalil has looked really good at shortstop tonight in the 4 or 5 plays he's seen. Made him look really flawless after an up and down opening weekend and then a pretty good series against Empire State and Quebec. So now the designated hitter, Luke Navigato, steps in. 0 for 1 for him thus far. He grounded out towards George Khalil. Watches strike 1 go by, called strike 1. Navigato entered the game batting 150 on the season. Lifts this one to the right side, but it is foul and way out of play, probably in the parking lot. Long break for Parker Brahms, who gets his sign and sends home the 0-2. This one's chopped towards the right side into the outfield, and McKinley only has to make 3 or 4 steps out there and brings it in for out number 3. Really fast and easy inning for Parker Brahms. We now head to the top half of the 5th inning. Otters still trail by 2 here on the Otters Digital Network. Your home for Otters baseball all week long while the Otters are up here in Canada. Ready for the top half of the 5th inning here. And they actually were just introducing some groups in attendance tonight. And one of the ones that they mentioned is the Japanese Embassy. Of course, Ottawa being the capital of Canada, the Japanese Embassy has people here, probably a group of 50 or 60, and they were all waving Japanese flags down there in the section right behind home plate. Getting ready to go here, and the Otters have had a couple really bad innings at the plate. The first inning is the only inning that they have not had multiple strikeouts. They had 1 in that first inning, then 2 set down via the K in the second, 2 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. One of the ones to strike out already in the game, Justin Felix, will start us off here in the top half of the fifth inning. Takes his time digging in, and the first pitch is on its way to him. Swinging, strike one. Hefty cut there on the fastball, but he was underneath it. Watches the second one go by, and it's a called strike two. That one sat on the lower half of the zone, the changeup. Almost no wind out there. All the flags are basically in line with the flagpoles they have. The 0-2, swinging, strike three. And for the second time this evening, Justin Felix sits down with the K. It'll bring up the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr. He struck out as well in that second inning. First chance for him, lifted up and out of play. Back into the seating area behind home. Already on the mound and ready to go is Evan Grills. He does not want to take time between pitches. The 0-1. Swinging, strike two. That was a slider that worked its way out of the zone. When Allen started swinging at it, it was coming right in there towards his wheelhouse. And by the time it made it to home plate, it was almost in the opposite batter's box. The 0-2. Oh, man, Allen got just a tiny piece of that to keep himself alive. I thought for sure it was another strikeout. The 0-2. Oh, man. Called strike three on the upper outside corner of the plate. Ronnie Allen Jr. cannot believe it. Second called strike three we've seen so far for the Otters. And after two straight strikeouts, Trevor McKinley will step in trying to right the ship in what has been a really rough outing for the Bats. And he starts with a bad swinging strike one. He has the only hit of the game for the Otters. That was a single back there in the second inning, also with 2 outs. Called strike two across the heart of the plate, and he's down 0-2. Well, two things have worked together for the Otters struggling here. They're swinging at bad pitches, and the strike zone is a good size as well. And strike three comes across, a swinging strike three for McKinley. Evan Grills strikes out the side. And we head to the bottom half of the fifth inning. Otters still empty-handed in this one. Ottawa leads 2-0. Bottom half of the 5th inning coming at you live on the Otters Digital Network. Here from still a bit sunny Ottawa, Ontario. Sun is just now starting to go down. Due up for the Titans, Tyrus Green, Jackie Urbaez, and Will Zimmerman. The first pitch that Green sees, he lifts up towards the left side, but it gets out of play for strike one. Green walked his first time up, but then was caught stealing second on a close play out there. Brahms delivers on the 0-1. This one's lifted up yet again. It's going to stay in play. Khalil thinks he's underneath it, and he is. So after a pop-up to the shortstop, the second baseman, Jackie Urbaez, steps in. He flew out his first time up. Urbaez entered the game batting .370. Shows drag bunt for a second there. Then pulls away from it. Armstrong had started running his way. (1-0) now the count after he was able to pull back before that drag bunt. This time he does drag bunt towards the right side. No play at first. Started working towards the right side. Brahms let it go so that his second baseman Purrier could pick it up, and Purrier thought that Brahms was going to get it. So a miscommunication there as Urbaez reaching on the infield single. So back to the top of the order we go. Center fielder Will Zimmerman stepping in after 2 groundouts so far in the game, both of them to the left side of the infield. First pitch he sees, sent towards right field. McKinley runs in and pulls it in for the first out. Sorry, second out. So 2 down. Left fielder Rodrigo Orozco steps in. He's 0 for 1. Walked in the first inning. He came around to score. Then he grounded out there in the 3rd inning. A throw over to first, really close. Man, I thought for sure Brahms had got him over there. Orozco still waiting on his first offering of this at-bat. First one he sees, he fouls back into the seats behind home plate. Titans lead 2-0 in this game. Off a RBI double in the first and a solo home run in the 3rd. Again, Brahms throws over, but it's just a bit too late, and Jackie Urbaez is back in time. Oh, 1. That one misses low. Brahms has really struggled to find the zone in this game. He's lucky that the game is still as close as it is. Finds the zone there with a fastball in the low half. Count it 1-2 now. Most of the strikes he's been able to accomplish in this game have been via foul balls. The 1-2 to Orozco on the way. Sent on a line towards right field, and it's in for a base hit. So with 2 outs, Orozco finds a way on, and there's now runners on first and second. And now the third baseman, A.J. Wright, steps in. 1 for 1 with a solo home run and a walk. Came into the game batting .432. He steps in there, the right-handed hitter of A.J. Wright. Brahms taking his time, a glance out towards second. Here comes the first pitch of the at-bat. Looked like it was good, but it must have stayed just a tad bit to the low side. Ball one. Otters play here once again tomorrow evening. 6:30 first pitch, 5:30 Evansville time. As a 1-0 on the way. Catches the high outside corner and evens the count at 1-1. 5:30 will be first pitch. We will have the pregame show for you right here on the Otters Digital Network starting at 5:20 Central Time, 6:20 Eastern. Then the series concludes for a noon game on Thursday, 11 a.m. Evansville time. 1-1 is sent towards the right side. Khalil picks it up to second for one. And that will do it. Khalil just about misplayed that, and 2 runners on here with 2 outs do not come back to haunt the Otters. Titans still lead this game 2-0 as we head to the 6th inning here on your home for the Evansville road trip this week, the Otters Digital Network. We're ready to go here in the top half of the 6th inning. They are just finishing raking the infield. And they're finally ready to go. Stepping in for his second at-bat of the game will be the second baseman, Julius Purrier. Purrier is the guy that was just picked up here by Andy McCauley to help out on this road trip. Straight out of college, was in the Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference playing for Bloomfield the last 3 years, but he hadn't played baseball yet this year, so this is his opportunity here in the Frontier League. A couple guys on this Otters team just trying to use this week almost as a long tryouts to prove their worth and maybe become part of the full roster when the team heads back to Evansville a week from today. The 1-1 to Purrier. After he swung at one and let one go up high, this one stays up high, and the count's at 2-1 now. Gets bat on this, but sends it well foul into the seating area behind home plate. Count evens up at 2-2. Lower Bowl is filling up pretty nicely here for what is still a pretty chilly night for baseball here in Ottawa. 65 degrees at first pitch, now at 58. The 2-2 stays up near the hands inside for ball 3, and the count's now full with no outs here in the top half of the 6th inning. Pitch on the way. Oh, man. Fastball just about snuck by Purrier. He gets just a tad bit of bat on this one and fouls it back. Next pitch goes by, and he thought for sure he had got himself a walk, but it hangs in the zone for a called strike 3 in the first out of the game, or of the inning. And it's 5 straight strikeouts for Evan Grills. Outside of the first inning, Grills has struck out the first batter of every inning since. Now stepping in is the shortstop George Khalil, who's 0 for 1 with a ground out. He shows bunt. Probably was aiming towards that left side. The third baseman was played really far back, but he lets it go by, and it's called strike 1. Swings hard at the 0-1 and just barely catches a little bit of ball and fouls it off. Back into the net. Quickly down 0-2 in the count is George Khalil. Now the 0-2. That one misses way up high. A lot of promotions next week as the Otters return home. Tuesday against Lake Erie is Taco Tuesday. As the pitch stays inside and evens the count at 2-2. So that Tuesday night, 6:35 is first pitch as the Otters host Lake Erie. Ball sent on a line towards left, stays foul, however. Count stays at 2-2. Then Wednesday will be another Senior Connection Wednesday game day. You are a individual 55 or older, you can come get a discounted senior general admission ticket at the box office anytime for any of those home Wednesday games. That game is a noon start at Evansville next Wednesday. Khalil to the right side and through for a base hit. Got a hold of the ball and put it right in the gap between the shortstop and third baseman. And with one out, Khalil is on for the first time today. So we head back to the top of the order and the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Andy Armstrong. Armstrong's 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk in this one. First pitch he sees is called strike 1 on the top half of the zone, right at the elbows. The throw over to first and plenty of time. Evan Grills has been rock solid in this game. The pitch home. That one catches zone. Just a tad on the inside corner. And Armstrong's down 0-2 in this count. Pitch over just to keep Khalil close. He's back in plenty of time, however. Armstrong needs something to happen here. The 0-2 up high. One ball, 2 strikes to Andy Armstrong, who's still looking for his first hit of the ball game. Otters only have 2 hits in the whole game thus far. And absolutely fooled on the changeup as Armstrong. He was way out in front of that one. And he will sit down as the second out of the inning. So now the center fielder Miles Gordon, who's 0 for 2 in the game, going to try his luck with 2 outs. Evan Grills has been outstanding on the mound thus far. "12 of the 18 outs he's recorded have been strikeouts as we sit here in the top half of the 6th inning. Otters' best chance came in that top half of the 1st. When they had a runner on third with just 1 out, but they were unable to bring Armstrong home. Now with 2 outs, there's a runner on first in the form of George Khalil, an 0-1 count for Gordon. He swings hard at that one on a pitch that moves way inside on him. Got just a piece of it, but regardless, the count goes to 0-2. Sure feels like a game that is a lot further away than a 2-0 game. The 0-2 again. Catches the outside corner. Gordon does not like it, and he lets his voice be heard to the home plate umpire, Hughes Lafreniere, afterwards. But it is another inning where all 3 outs recovered were all strikeouts. And we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. 2-run disadvantage still for the Otters. Parker Brahms retakes the mound for the Otters as they head to the bottom half of the 6th inning, still trailing 2-0 to the Ottawa Titans. Titans struck first in the bottom half of the 1st inning on an RBI double from Jacob Sanford. Then in the 3rd inning, a solo home run from A.J. Wright. That's all the scoring we've seen thus far. And with that 6th inning struggle from the Otters, those 6 innings are officially the longest they've been held scoreless all season long. Opening pitch to Sanford. He pops it up. Felix rushing home behind home. He thinks he might have a play, and he does as he falls into the netting for out number 1. Well, Brahms has been really good about getting first pitch strikes and even better at getting first pitch outs on the very first pitch of innings. So now the first baseman, Brendan Dadson, steps in. Dadson with a pop out and a fly out thus far. They start him off with a pitch way inside. Looked like a fastball there. Defense looks a lot like it has in a lot of these innings. Shifted a little bit towards the right. Called strike 1 on a pitch high and inside. As for the infield of the Otters, all playing deep except Armstrong at third, who's playing with his toes on that infield grass. The 1-1 switches positioning on him with the fastball there on the outside corner, and it's called strike 2. Here in the 6th inning, and Parker Brahms is still looking for his first strikeout of the game. Could be here. No, it's sent on a line towards Purrier at second. He plays it on 2 hops over to first in time. And it's 2 up, 2 down for the Titans here in the 6th inning. Well, Brahms has found himself in a lot of 0-2 counts, but he has been unable to set anyone down on strikes. And a lot of it, I think, is just because he's not positioning pitches very well. He hasn't had a ton of called strikes. Most of them have been foul balls or swinging on close pitches. Fisher watches strike one go by. Fisher is 0 for 2 in the game with a ground out and a flyout. 0-1, and Fisher gets underneath it, sends it towards left field. Davis running after it towards the track and hauls it in just about 3 or 4 feet shy of the track. And after 6 full innings, it's Otters nothing, Ottawa 2. Well, if you are a pitching coach, this has been your dream, as you haven't had to go to the bullpens at all in this game, saving lots of arms for the rest of this series. If you're a fan of pitching, you've loved the day from Evan Grills, who has just worked through this Otters lineup. And if you're a fan of infield defense, you've loved what you've seen from the Otters, especially from Khalil at short. He's had an exceptional evening thus far. J.R. Davis will be the first Otter to bat here in the 7th inning. He has 2 groundouts so far in the game, both of them at the third baseman. First pitch for him. Thinks about going through, holds off, and it's called strike one anyway. Davis is going to be followed by Bierman and Felix. Bierman and Felix both have struck out twice. 0-1 to Davis. Lifts it up and out of play. Foul. 0-2 count to J.R. Davis, who will try to avoid the same fate that a lot of his fellow Otters have seen, swinging and missing on a strike 3. It stays a bit low, and it's ball 1 in the count. Well, the sun is just about down here from Ottawa, and it is starting to get a little chilly. The 1-2 on a line towards the shortstop, who plays it on a 1-hop. Long throw across to Dodson in time, and the Titans retire J.R. Davis to start the 7th inning. So now the designated hitter, Zach Bierman, steps in. 2 strikeouts thus far, both of them swinging. First option is by for strike 1. We still haven't even seen someone get active in a bullpen. way earlier in the game, we saw an Otter just stretching out there, but he wasn't out of any of his warm-up gear. Shows why. Bierman swings at strike 2. The 0-2 pitch. Outside, ball 1. Deep breath from Bierman in there, trying to avoid strikeout 3. And he watches ball 2 stay way high. I'll take one out of my broadcast partner Bill McEwen's book, and man, Bierman has such a quick bat around when he sees a pitch he likes. He can swing that thing so quick. Ton of fun to watch him in batting practice today. Just to admire how quick that swing is. He struggled with it tonight, though, and he's looking at a full count pitch now. On the way outside, and he walks. So that's an important one for the Otters. Just their second base runner since the second inning. And it'll bring up the catcher, Justin Felix. Felix is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeout swings in the game. So a game that feels oddly similar to the one we had on Sunday against Quebec. Otters stuck in a defensive battle here, down 2-0. First pitch to Felix is a curveball that just misses the high outside corner. That was a nice pitch. A little bit of a lead from Bierman at first. Very short, though, now. He won't be stealing. The 1-0 to Felix. Called strike 1. That one just caught the low inside corner on the changeup. And that's been something that I think Evan Grills has done really well, is he's been mixing up the pitches, really making sure these Otters hitters are never seeing the same pitch multiple times in a row. Throw over to first in time. Man, that one looked close to a balk, as it kind of looked like Grills had made a little movement towards home. But all is well. Bierman's back in time. The count stays at 1-1. Pitch on the way to Felix. He unloads on that swing, but all he does is foul it straight back. So 1-2 now the count. Felix is trying to avoid his third strikeout of the game. This will by far be the most times the Otters have struck out this season. A 1-2 to Felix. Half swings at it. A question, did he go? Yes, he did. A swinging strike 3 for Justin Felix, and he is 0 for 3 with 3 Ks in the game. So it'll bring up the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr., also has 2 strikeouts in the game. Long wait on the mound for Grills. Sends it home, and it's high outside, ball 1. 14 strikeouts so far for Evan Grills, and he has no intentions on being done. Quick throw over to first. Back in time is Zach Bierman. A 1-0. This one's lifted up, but it will get out of play. And the count will even up at a ball and a strike. Take another quick look at the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard. Lake Erie leads New York 7-0 in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Quebec and Gateway are tied at 2 apiece in the bottom of the 5th inning. Washington leads Tri-City 9-1 in the 4th. Called strike 2 for Ronnie Allen Jr. And the Otters could be down to their last strike in another inning here. Joliet leads New Jersey 6-1. Trois-Rivières leads Florence 1-0. Allen chops one to the left side. There's going to be a quick play at first. Not in time. So Ronnie Allen Jr. took a hefty swing there. Ended up staying on top of the ball a little bit, chopping it towards the left side. Almost looked like he had bunted. No play at first results in him getting over there in time. And there's going to be a quick meeting on the mound for Ottawa. We'll take a look and see if they decide. Yep, they do give it as a single for Ronnie Allen Jr. Just the third hit of the game. Take a chance to walk you through the Steel Corp Frontier League standings. After their loss, Empire State is 0-10, sitting at the bottom of the East Division. Up top over there is Quebec and Tri-City, who are running things. Sussex County at 7-4 in the 3 spot over there. First offering to Trevor McKinley. Stays a bit low for ball 1. He was able to hold his swing. As for the West Division, Gateway still leading things 8-1. They're followed by Schaumburg, Evansville, and Washington, all at 5-4. A 1-0 right across the heart of the plate evens up our count. Trevor McKinley batting now. He played a little bit in the United Shore League last year for Westside. Played in 30 games. Beautiful curveball there. Catches the low part of the zone, and it's now a 1-2 count. So once again, the Otters could be looking at another strikeout here. The 1-2. Called strike 3. Trevor McKinley can't believe it. And it's 15 strikeouts on the day for Evan Grills. With that, we head to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Stand up and stretch wherever you're listening from. It's Otters baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. Your home for this whole Canadian road trip as the Otters play Ottawa and Trois-Rivières this week. Well, we've stretched and we're ready to go at the bottom half of the 7th inning here from Ottawa, Ontario, here north of the border. Otters making their first trip to Canada in over 20 years. And so far, the game isn't favoring them. They trail 2-0. Parker Brahms still on the mound for the Otters. He'll lead off with a ball in the dirt to Luke Navigato, who's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a flyout. I tell you, with every out we get in this game, the temperature drops even more. Seen a couple of the Otters put on some compression sleeves just so that they have some sleeves on out there. The 1-1 to Navigato. Chopped towards Armstrong at third. He plays it on 2 hops across the first in time. And the Otters start off the inning with some more strong defense. One of the pieces that have really explained this whole game. So now the catcher Tyrus Green steps in, 0 for 1 with a pop out and a walk so far. A combined 7 hits through 6.5 innings so far. Nice pitch from Brahms on the high inside corner, called strike 1. Green steps back in and watches strike 2 go by. This one on the low outside corner. And once again, Parker Brahms has a chance to pick up his first strikeout of the game. 0-2 is way up high. Felix almost had to jump to catch that thing. Just about to pass the 2-hour mark in this one. A lot of defense and pitching. The 1-2 in the dirt actually goes through Felix's legs. Won't matter, however. So the count heads to 2-2. Join us once again tomorrow evening as the Otters and Titans do battle once again. 6:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Central Time is first pitch. Pregame show will start at 5:20. Will be available right here on the Otters Digital Network. Ball is fouled off to the left side there a few seconds ago, and the count stays at 2-2 for Green. Pitch coming home goes way inside. And the count is now full for Parker Brahms, who can only seem to find the strike zone when a batter is ready to swing and has caused a lot of balls in contact thus far. The full count. Sent right back at Brahms, and he picks it up and sends it to first in time. Man, a little look what I found play, as that one just happened to sneak back into the glove of Brahms. So now with 2 outs, the 9-hole hitter, second baseman Jackie Urbaez steps in. Urbaez has one of the 4 hits so far for the Titans. First pitch is across for strike 1 called. Oh, 1 to Urbaez. He chops it towards the right side. Oh, just foul. Would have been extra bases had it stayed maybe an inch further to the left down that first base line. Otters, of course, playing the Titans tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. Trois-Rivières Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that will conclude all of their games against Canadian teams this year, as Brahms misses up high. The only other time they could face one of these 3 Canadian teams would be potentially the Frontier League Championship Series, the very end of the season. A 1-2 to Urbaez. Stays low. Every time Brahms has himself with a 2-strike pitch, he's either overthrowing it and sending it low or trying to throw so hard he loses the grip and sends it way too high. The 2-2 lifted high towards left field, shallow left field, now towards foul ground. Armstrong in the bullpen over there, and he was worried he was going to run into the fence, and it drops by him. Long way to run for him, and the terrain gets a little hilly over there, and that's why he got just a little concerned about where he was located and lays it off. Count stays at 2-2 for Jackie Urbaez. This would be a big one for Parker Brahms to pick up. Got it in there. Swinging strike 3. And that ends the 7th inning. Brahms finally gets his first strikeout of the game. After 7 completes, it's Ottawa 2, Evansville nothing. And sticking up there on the mound is going to be Evan Grills for his 8th inning of work. Man, has he been exceptional up there. The Otters have got Jacob Bowles up and moving and throwing in the mounds, or in the bullpen, I'm sorry. Does kind of look like with the pace that he is warming up that he is likely going to be coming in the bottom half of the 8th inning. If so, it would mean that Brahms' day ends with 7 complete innings, giving up 2 runs on 4 hits. First pitch that Julius Purrier sees, he sends it out towards right field, and it's brought in pretty simply by the right fielder Sanford. So now the shortstop George Khalil steps in. 1 for 2 with a single and a ground out so far in his day. Otters have really struggled to get anything going in this game, and when they have, they've left runners on. First pitch is through for called strike 1 to George Khalil. "15 strikeouts thus far in the game for Grills. Nice play by the second baseman, sliding run thrower to first, and it is in time. And the fans get on their feet here. What a play from Urbaez. Not only did he have to work 15 feet to his right, he slid into the lip there between the dirt and grass, threw from his hip, got it to first just in time. And we're back up to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Andy Armstrong, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts and a walk in the game. First offering is way inside, ball 1. Otters are trying to get some offense going to try to start off this road trip on the right foot. Armstrong chops right back up to the pitcher, Grills. A tough throw over to first, and because it bounces on its way to the first baseman, Dadson, Armstrong's going to be safe. I assume that's going to be an error on the pitcher. Just a poor throw from him that would have ended the 8th inning. Instead, allows Armstrong to reach for the second time. So with 2 outs here, Miles Gordon steps in. Ottawa does have a man starting to warm up in their bullpen. It is Kevin Escorcia. As called strike 1 goes by Miles Gordon. Kevin Escorzia, 6'1", 170 out there in the pen. Ball works high inside on Gordon. The count evens up. Miles Gordon from Oakville, Ontario, not too far from here. Kind of a homecoming for him. A 1-1, way outside. Armstrong got a good lead there. Had it gotten past Green, he surely would have had second. Stepping back in is Miles Gordon, looking at a 2-1 count. Armstrong with a pretty small lead over there at first. Pitch on the way. It's sent towards the left side. Picked up. Long throw across to first. Ends the inning. Another rock-solid inning of work from Evan Grills. What a performance from him. We head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Otters still trail by 2. And a standing ovation for Evan Grills as he comes to the dugout after another solid inning of work for him. And we welcome you back inside Ottawa Stadium here for the bottom half of the 8th inning. Pitching change necessary for the Otters. They're going to bring in the right-handed pitcher, Jacob Bowles. Bowles has not appeared in some time. He was the one that pitched that resumption of the Saturday night game that got postponed there in the New Jersey series a long time ago. He received the loss in that game after giving up 6 runs on 3 hits in his 1 2/3 innings of work. And this is an opportunity for him just to keep the game where it's at. Otters only have one more chance with the bats. It was a rock-solid starting pitching performance from the starting man, Parker Brahms. Brahms goes 7 complete innings, giving up 2 runs on 4 hits. I want to remind you that this call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solutions needs. On the mound, Jacob Bowles throwing home towards Justin Felix. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all of your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Stepping in once again is the leadoff hitter, Will Zimmerman. Zimmerman's 0 for 3 with 2 groundouts and a flyout. He starts with ball 1 way outside. A lot of movement on that pitch. A fastball from Jacob Bowles. Have to wait for the 1-0. Pitch on the way. Just catches the high outside corner. Nice pitch there. Evens up the count at a ball and a strike. The 1-1. This one's lifted towards right field. Chasing after it is McKinley. And it lands over his head off the base of the wall. Zooming for third is Will Zimmerman. The play at third. Not in time. Oh, that was really close. I thought maybe Armstrong applied the tag. It's a leadoff triple for the leadoff man, Will Zimmerman of the Titans. kudos to this Otters infield as they just about got that in time. So now with no outs and a runner on third, Rodrigo Oronzo steps in. Orozco has a single, a walk, and an out thus far in the game, and the infield's playing way in. Sends it right back up at the pitcher. Bowles is able to just snag it with the glove and retire him in one pitch. Man, he made that look easy. I don't do a play like that justice. Infield's going to stay pushed way in for A.J. Wright, the third baseman. He had the solo home run in the third inning as well as a walk in the first. First pitch to Wright, stays up high, ball one. Bowles with a deep breath, then sends home the 1-0. Called, strike one, evens the count. An interesting thing here, Bowles is pitching out of the windup with a runner on. He's taking an extra step there before he throws home. The 1-1. Swinging strike two. Man, he really lit him up there. That was a quick pitch from Bowles. And he's got A.J. Wright in a 1-2 hole. It would just be the second strikeout of the day if Bowles was able to do it here. The 1-2. Half swing, doesn't matter. It's called strike three. Just the second time in the game a Titan has been put down on strikes. So now with two outs, the right fielder Jacob Sanford steps in. Right now he has the game-winning RBI with that RBI double in the first inning. And there's going to be a discussion up there on the mound as the pitching coach Max Peterson of the Otters takes the walk up there. He'll talk with his pitcher Bowles and catcher Felix about how they want to approach this at-bat. Would be really important if the Otters were able to keep a run off the board here. I want to take this chance to remind you that if you want to make your lawn and landscape look like a field of dreams, make sure you use Tin Barge Professional Products. You can pick them up at any of their 3 locations, beautifying the communities we live in and the grass we walk on, all since 1940. Tin Barge Appliance. So stepping in now is the right fielder Jacob Sanford, ready to go. 2 outs, runner on third. Bottom half of the 8th inning here. Titans lead by 2. Pitches across, called strike one. Beautiful ballpark here in Ottawa. You want to take a look at it, just Google Ottawa Stadium. And it holds over 10,000. Beautiful ballpark right here next to the highway. And they have a beautiful crowd on hand here tonight. Couple thousand opening night here for the Titans. The 0-1 stays a bit low. Evens the count at 1-1. They had a whole bunch of promotions tonight. Gave out some bucket hats to the first 500 in the doors. They're going to do fireworks after the game. These Canadian teams had to wait about a week and a half before they were finally able to open their home season. All of them started on the road in the West Division. Here comes the 1-1. Half swing. And it's called strike two. Really frustrated as Jacob Sanford after that. Was hoping he thought he had checked his swing, but it didn't matter because it was called strike. Count it 1-2 with 2 outs. Jacob Bowles trying to snag out number 3 after allowing the leadoff triple. Time is called before the pitch can come home. Otters will have their last chance at bat in that top half of the ninth right after the conclusion of this inning. 2 outs, runner on third. The 1-2 to Sanford. He lifts it up towards the left side, but it's going to get well out of play into the seating area over there. So the count stays at 1-2. Otters are just trying to not come up empty yet again. Two outs, a 1-2 count to Jacob Sanford, who already has 1 RBI in the game. Could add another with a base hit here. Bulls trying to sit him down at the strikeout. Ball's way outside. Felix is able to keep it close, however. Now a 2-2 count with 2 outs. The Titans are threatening with a runner on third. 2-0 game in favor of the Titans. The pitch on the way, outside yet again. Bulls cringes a little bit after he throws it. Just lost that one. So what was a 1-2 count has now quickly become a full count. Bulls has to keep something close. Full count, 2 outs, runner on third for the Titans. Hit towards first. Allen makes a play. Race to first in time is Allen, and that will retire the side. A leadoff triple in the bottom half of the eighth will not come back to hurt the Otters. We head to the potential last chance for the Otters at bat right after this. You're listening to Evansville Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network, your home for the Otters on the road. So here it is. Otters got to do something now. Top half of the ninth inning. They have really struggled in this game, mostly with the strikeouts. 15 strikeouts in the game. Not quite a franchise record. Back in 2013, the Otters struck out 18 times against Windy City. Just to tie it, they would all 3 of them would have to strike out here. No pinch hitters yet. We're going to start off with J.R. Davis. Zach Bierman will follow. It looks like Justin Felix is ready to go in the hole, so those will be the 1, 2, 3. Kevin Escorcia will come in out of the bullpen to pitch for the Titans after a wonderful performance from Evan Grills. That call to the bullpen is presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solutions needs. As Davis watches one go by for strike 1. Again, on the mound, it's Escorcia. Send it home to Green. The pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 9,000. Davis watches ball one go by way up high. The 1-1. Lifted out towards center field. Giving chase is Zimmerman, and he brings it in. Long way to run for him. He made that look really easy. So coming into the game and picking up first out right away is Kevin Escorcia. Brings up Zach Bierman. And the heavy hitting bat of Zach Bierman really needs a runner on as well in a situation like this. First pitch for him. Watches it go by, strike one. The curveball had him fooled. Don't forget that the Otters will play the Titans once again tomorrow. The 0-1. Bierman sends it right back up the middle. A look what I found play by Escorcia. He throws over to first for the second out. And the Otters are down to their last out of the game. And it'll be Justin Felix who does the role of last batter up. 0 for 3 in the game with 3 strikeouts swinging. Felix has stepped in and he's ready for this first offering. First one, he chops it to the right side. Snagged by the first baseman. A race to first. In time, and that's how the game ends. What a play from Dadson. And the Ottawa Titans open up their home season with a 2-0 win over Evansville. The Otters just could not get anything going at the plate tonight. They managed just 3 hits. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we've got post-game stats and reaction. Live from Ottawa, Ontario. Again, Ottawa wins this one 2-0. We'll be right back. And for the final time this evening, welcome into Ottawa Stadium. Here, the home of the Ottawa Titans, who have won this one 2-0. Not too much to go over in this one, just a couple of rock-solid performances. Starts off with Evan Grills, the starting pitcher for Ottawa. He was exceptional in this game. He went 7 complete innings, striking out 14 on way to just a 3-hit performance. No runs scored by the Otters. It's the first time all year they've been held scoreless. It was an RBI double in the bottom half of the first inning that proved to be the only run the Titans would need, as Jacob Sanford brought home Rodrigo Orozco. Then, in the third inning, A.J. Wright added a run of insurance, a solo home run for the Titans, and that is the score that held all the way to the end. 2-0 in favor of the Titans. The two will face off again tomorrow, where the Otters will hope to have a little bit better performance, and it'll start with the man on the mound. Tim Holgrafer will get the nod once again. We're not sure exactly who he'll go up against for Ottawa as of yet, as they have not announced their projected starting lineup or starting pitcher for tomorrow. We'll be sure to have that for you in the pregame show. We'll do one last check around the Frontier League with a Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard. Windy City beat Sussex County earlier today, 3-1. Schaumburg beat Empire State 8-2 earlier today. Lake Erie defeats New York 7-0. Washington is up 11-1 on Tri-City in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Gateway has a narrow 3-2 lead over Quebec there in the 8th inning. In the bottom half of the 7th, Joliet leads New Jersey 6-2. And in the bottom of the 6th, Florence leads Trois-Rivières 3-2. The final from here, Ottawa wins this one 2-0 over Evansville. The two sides will face off once again tomorrow, 6:30 local time, 5:30 Central is when that game will start. We will have the first pitch available for you here with a pregame show starting at 5:20. You can catch it right here on the Otters Digital Network. Again, pregame show will start about 5:20 Evansville time. First pitch scheduled for about 5:30 Evansville time, and then the series will conclude on Thursday with an 11 a.m. first pitch here from Ottawa. I want to thank everyone for tuning in for this edition of Otters Baseball on the Otters Digital Network. For all of us here for the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Otter Ball here on the Otters Digital Network. We'll talk to you tomorrow.